You're listening to Mike Adams and Chris Savory, the record collectors from the BBC, between now and 9 tonight.
With Mike Adams and Chris Savory. Time is 7:30. Just if you happen to be anywhere near Harborne this evening, at 171 Oxfam's popular shop in the High Street in Harborne is celebrating the new year with a musical event tonight. The enthusiastic staff have been saving hundreds and hundreds of albums along with CDs to brighten up these dark evenings, and there will be some very fairly priced collector's items, 3,000 hip-hop, garage, house, jazz, folk, country, classical, big bang, etc, etc, etc. And if you want to know more, you can contact Janet King on 0121 426 5222. That's 0121 426 5222.
That's tonight.
That is tonight.
So it must be open now, immediately after the programme finishes.
Be, yes. But it's just come. It's a fax that's come through. Just pass that across to you.
Right. And if you're looking for records, we'll give you details of record fairs taking place this weekend. And we can tell you there's a record fair in Congleton tomorrow. Venue is the Masonic Hall, the Eton Masonic Hall in Mill Street. And told that lots and lots of dealers, and we've been saying that recently at record fairs, the number of dealers back at fairs where maybe last year a lot of little fairs, maybe like Congleton and Leek and Stafford and that, you know, 3 or 4 dealers managed to make it. Suddenly they're all packing in from all over the place. So I can tell you that I know that both the fairs that we know that are definitely on this weekend are absolutely jam-packed with dealers, so well worth going to. Congleton tomorrow, Eton Masonic Hall, Mill Street, and Sunday it's one of those 25-30 stall absolutely packed out ones, Hanley YMCA, Harding Road, Hanley, Stoke-on-Trent.
We've had loads of cards in for last week's competition, and many of you said some very nice things. The winner was Clive Poole, but I will mention MJ Wheeler from Water Orton in Birmingham. Also, our friend Bill Wood. Lovely letter from John Archer, Brian Shaw, but Clive Poole had the right list. He wrote Rise and Fall of Finkelbunk, Man of Mystery, Bombay Duck, The Stranger, Rhythm and Greens, and Foot Tapper, and that is the... Well, is that the winning one? Where are we? Yes,
it's no, because it's Flingle Bunt. So he spelled it wrong, so throw him out.
No, Fringle. It is Fringle Bunt.
No, Fingle, not Fringle. He's got it wrong again.
He's dropping his L's. Anyway,
the Rise and Fall of Fingle Bunt.
But I will give it to Clive Poole because he actually says, and I have a witness, note spelling. So there we are. Clive, an absolutely awful prize will make its way to you. And just to tell you that you missed the competition question is that a British group made a record with Carl Perkins. If you know that record, please write to us. And it's Bunt, yes.
Listen, it's Flingle. We'll get it right in a minute. It's the Rise and Fall of Flingle Bunt.
Spell that again. Anyway, hey... P.O. Box 397, Shrewsbury, SY1 3TT. The boys are in there, by the way, to take your calls. 01743 248 321. Yes, he's on his way.
BBC Midlands Radio.
I'm sure you know the tune, but did you know that was by the Coders from 1959 on Gala Records? And our guest tonight, Jimmy the Ferret, who's a welcome guest returning to tell us all about those junk shops. We think, we're not sure here, but looking at the picture at the front, we think it's Brian Blessed. Or is it? James, welcome back to the Collectors.
Thank you, Chris. I've no idea actually who it is. For those who know the Gala label, on the singles certainly, they always put a portrait of, or a photograph of the artist or artiste on the label. The Coders appear to be a two-piece, and the guy, the one of the pictures, is a young chap with a beard, and it does actually look like a very, very young Brian Blessed before he turned into a human foghorn.
Very much, doesn't it?
Quite pleasant. Obviously, a record's been done by many, many people. Sleepwalk, but that's a pleasant little version to which we have listened.
Gala itself is what I call very much, well, I won't say very much, but sometimes they just cover things, like I think on the other side it's a different group doing an Everly Brothers number, but sometimes you get people like Billy Muir and his orchestra, you get Tom and Jerry and various artists. A strange label, and most of the things you never see in price guides in Collector. Nobody goes around saying, I collect Gala records or things like that.
The way they say I collect Embassy records, you're quite right. It is a label that only crops up occasionally. The only one I know of any note is the one you mentioned, which is Tom and Jerry, the early days of Simon and Garfunkel. And that is the only one I know that actually appears in the price guides.
Where did that come from then? Where did you find it?
I haven't the faintest idea.
Well, that's a good answer. So, where were you looking at tonight?
I thought tonight we'd actually move back to the Western Midlands area.
Yeah.
Obviously, we try to look at different areas each time we do this shops roundup. I know last time when I came in, we were looking at places on the south coast, the holiday resorts where one could find records. Before that, we looked at Derby, Leicester, Nottingham, Chester, but we hadn't actually looked at the Western Midlands for a while. So I've been going round, I got the lists out to find out, remind me of some of the places I hadn't been to for a long time, and I went round and had a look. I have to say I was amazed how many places had closed down. Some are long standing, some have been open for years, and suddenly they are not there anymore. So the list that I used to have, which was this long, is now this long. Anyway, West Midlands is where we're going to have a look at. We'll start off with a place that has been going for a while, and it's one I try and call into whenever I'm in Brierley Hill, just outside Dudley. A place called Revival Records, and they are based on the ground floor in the old market hall, which is in the centre of Brierley Hill, on the main road in Brierley Hill. Run by a guy called Adrian Oldfield, and quite a nice indoor market record stall. He's been there for some years. He used to be in the upstairs portion, now he's in the downstairs bit. Lots of second-hand music in here from the 60s, 70s, 80s and some into the 90s as well. A lot of vinyl, which is nice to see, because many places that I have been into over the past 12 months or so, vinyl is getting much more scarce. More CDs seem to be out, and certainly on the single side there doesn't seem to be as much about as there used to be. Speaking on my own half, I am a singles collector as opposed to LPs, and I've certainly found quite a dearth over the past 12 months of good singles in a lot of places. Not everywhere, I hasten to add, but a lot of places seems to have gone that way.
One of the things why shops may be fewer is that the items, the scarce items, are getting harder and harder due to the popularity. And in a way, popularity of record collecting is the death knell to lots of shops. And also, of course, a lot of people have sold off vinyl very cheaply, a little bit too soon.
But I'm finding actually that people don't want these scarce things now. That most people are coming round looking for what I call your £2-3 cheapers, and if you've got something nice on the wall which is £50-60, it's just, oh, can I hold it? Literally, it's
you had that problem last week, didn't you?
Can I touch it? And that's it. They don't want to buy it. People aren't after the rarities, and I honestly don't think that rarities in a shop mean much. You look at many shops. I mean, I went to Shoot the Moon recently. It's got masses of great stuff in there up there in Nantwich, but there's nothing rare in there. But people are not looking anymore. They don't seem to have the £50-60, the £100 just to walk in and say, oh, I'll have that £100 and walk out.
That's Hospital Street, by the way, in Nantwich. So we get our listeners wondering where it is.
Yeah, I suppose you're right there. It is nice when you have a good cross-section of music in there. It is nice to have somewhere that does stock a few rarities, but if you have, as you say, a couple of £100 rarities stuck up on the wall, if they're still there 12 months later, it's no good to anybody. Whoever runs these shops has to make a living by selling the product, so if they can get a good range of music coming in at a good price and put it out at a good price, people will come in and hopefully pay the money and keep these places going. Obviously that hasn't happened for some places. Certainly it seems to have worked okay for Revival down at Brierley Hill, because I know Adrian has been there for quite some years now and hopefully will be for quite some years to come. If you do fancy having a look in, and there is a good selection of music in there, certainly a lot on vinyl still, 45s, LPs and EPs. There are CDs and cassettes as well, but covering various ranges. Obviously your basic pop music, soul, rock, easy listening, all sorts of everything is in there. I've always found the prices as well to be very, very reasonable. Regardless of what the book might say, prices are always good in this shop. So I know if I do buy something, I always walk away feeling like I have got a bargain from the shop, and I think that's what people like to have. They're open 4 days a week. It used to be 3, it is now 4. That is Tuesday, Thursday, Friday and Saturday from 9 until 4 o'clock. So if you fancy going around the area, Brierley Hill, Revival Records in the Old Market Hall, Brierley Hill, worth having a look.
So we have a piece of music and then we'll say where to now.
Right. Well, the one we have lined up is an LP track, and It's actually by a young lady. I suppose really this lady, being French as she was, and probably still is, was very much an object of desire for us prepubescent, angst-ridden Spotty Herberts back in the 60s.
What does that mean?
It means she was great and we weren't. A lovely lady by the name of Françoise Hardy, and I think we all sort of swooned slightly over her and fantasised quite a bit back in the 60s.
Even the name.
Even the name just sounds, it just rolls off the tongue. Françoise Hardy. And this is an LP track entitled La Maison où j'ai grandi.
Françoise Hardy there, and I'll ask Jim to say it in French for just a moment. But I'll tell you what, that we know that the original was an Italian version, but there was a lovely version done by a lady. It came out on Capitol Records. She was American. It came out on Capitol over here. Do you know, it's not really a competition, but do you know the name of the lady who sang the English version of this? Give us a call, 01743 248 321. 01743 248 321. Tell us what the English title of this is. James, what is this in French again?
Go on, say it in French.
In French it is La Maison où j'ai grandi, the
in
house
Italian?
that I grew up in. The Italian, Il ragazzo della via Gluck.
Yeah, and you ring in and tell us what the English version is. I can tell you that actually in the English version it does say at one point, the house that I grew up in. James, where are we going to move to next?
He's kissing the album.
Yes, it's a very nice picture sleeve. I shall kiss it again. Right, we'll stay in the West Midlands area, as we're going to probably all evening. Just down the road a piece to Blackheath, and a shop, in fact, I think one of your callers mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. It was on my list to mention tonight, but obviously it shows other people do know what is there. Down in Blackheath at number 28B Oldbury Road, now this is right in the centre of Blackheath, opposite the Quick Save supermarket, there's a shop called Beach Books and Records. It's a very small shop indeed, highly compact. It's so small, if you want to change your mind you have to go outside. It is tidy. And again, it is a shop that has been there for quite some years, although the guy who was running it, I think, retired last year and sold it to another couple who've now taken up residence. It is mainly books inside. I would say 75-80% of the stock there is books. But the rest of it is music, and again I'm glad to say that most of it is in vinyl format. Mainly LPs, although there are a few boxes of singles in there, and obviously the stock does change. I noticed when I was in there last, which was before Christmas, the new couple who are running it, they'd obviously picked up a collection of old London singles in there, with artists like the Coasters, the Chiefs, Jan and Arnie, Bobby Freeman, etc., all being put out at fairly reasonable prices, as well as the other pop stuff they had in there. LP-wise, certainly it tends to be obviously your basic pop music, a fair bit of jazz and country, quite a decent selection of film themes, soundtracks and the like, some comedy sections, a bit of progressive music. So again, we are looking 50s, 60s and 70s in there mainly, not quite so much up to date. There are a few, but it's more 50s, 60s and 70s orientated. They're open daily from 10:30 until about 5:30. They're closed on Wednesdays, and you can, with this place, there's a car park directly opposite. That's not the Quick Save car park, it's just across the road. There is a free car park in which you can stick your vehicle. So worth having a look. Beach Books and Records, 28B Oldbury Road, Blackheath, West Midlands. If you want to give them a call, they're on 0121 559 9822.
And give us another shop, and then we'll have a piece of music. Or do you want a piece of music first? What do you want to do,
Just
James?
briefly, there was another shop actually in Blackheath which opened up a couple of years ago, but when I went past a short while back, it appears to have closed down. It may have moved. If it has, I'd like to know where it's gone to. It was called Marshall Records. It was in High Street, Rowley Regis, Blackheath. So it's only just up the road from there, run by a guy called Stephen Dorset. But it certainly appears to have gone from there. It may be elsewhere. If it is, let us know and I'll try and have a look, see what I can find out. Music-wise, this is a version of a Lennon and McCartney song. It's actually a version of The Long and Winding Road by a lady called Cissy Houston. And the two things about this when I was listening to it: A, doesn't she sound so much like her cousin, Dionne Warwick? And B, the melody to this is really very much like Do You Know the Way to San Jose? A nice record though.
The long and winding road.
Sissy Houston there, Long and Winding Road. Came out over here on Major Minor Records, but in the States on Commonwealth United Records, which also had Lenny Welch and many, many others. Guest tonight for you record collectors on your favourite BBC radio station, Jimmy the Ferret, talking about shops, West Midlands. What have we got next then, Jim?
Up the road a piece up to Dudley this time, a shop that has been there for a while. Although, well, it's been in Dudley for a while. It's moved to a few addresses, and that is Sound Search, and many people will know Sound Search, which is run by Richard Wallace. They're based right in the centre of Dudley at number 6 to number 8 New Street, Dudley, West Midlands, and it's just down by the bottom end of the outdoor market. I'm going to cough, hang on. We've all been chewing Albasol pastels in here. It smells like an operating
Oh, no.
And yeah, so he's down at the bottom end of the outdoor market. Quite a large shop, and again, I'm glad to say, with a very, very large vinyl selection inside. On 2 floors, in fact, he has another guy upstairs who sells